Have you ever been sitting next to your elderly parent, maybe on the couch after dinner or in a hospital waiting room, and they reached out and held your hand and just did not let go? Not for a second or two, but for a long, quiet stretch of time that made something inside you go still. You smiled, maybe. You looked away, maybe. But part of you knew, without knowing how you knew, that something was being said without a single word. And the strange part is that you probably did not ask about it. You let the moment pass, the way we let most quiet things pass, and then life picked back up its usual speed and carried you forward. But that moment stayed somewhere in you. It still does. It will keep staying. That moment is not accidental. It is not just habit or comfort-seeking in the way a child holds your hand crossing a street. When an elderly parent holds your hand longer than usual, their body is communicating something their words either cannot carry or have not yet found the courage to say. And if you have been busy, distracted, moving fast through your days the way most of us do, you may have missed what they were telling you. You may have smiled back and nodded and moved on, not because you did not care, but because nobody ever told you what that gesture actually meant. This video is going to hand that moment back to you, but this time with everything it was actually carrying inside it. The first thing that a prolonged handhold from an elderly parent often signals is that they are quietly measuring time. Not in an anxious way, in the way that someone who has lived long enough knows without being told that certain seasons are winding down. When they hold your hand and do not let go, they are taking a kind of internal count. How many more times will I get to sit here with this person? How many more evenings like this one? They are not trying to frighten you or themselves. They are simply doing what the aging mind naturally does, which is start to weigh the weight of ordinary moments. That extra pressure of their fingers around yours is them saying, "This one matters. I am marking this one." And they are right to mark it. Because ordinary evenings with the people we love are, it turns out, the whole thing. They are not the backdrop to a life. They are the life itself. The second thing it often means is that they are trying to tell you they are afraid, but they do not want to burden you with it. Fear in the elderly is rarely loud. And it does not announce itself the way it does in younger people. It becomes quiet. It becomes a hand that holds yours a little too long, a gaze that lingers, a silence that has texture to it. They may be afraid of pain. They may be afraid of losing more of themselves than they already have. They may be afraid of becoming a burden, which is its own particular kind of grief. But more than anything, they may be afraid of the moment when your hand will not be there to hold. Holding on longer is how they push that moment further away, at least for now. And the bravery in that small act, the courage it takes to be afraid and still reach out rather than withdraw, is something most of us will only understand when we arrive at that age ourselves. The third thing this gesture can mean is that they feel unseen in their daily life, and this is their way of reaching through that invisibility. Aging has a strange social cruelty to it. The world starts to speak over elderly people, speak for them, or simply stop asking them things altogether. Conversations happen around them, at family dinners. Decisions get made about them without them. Over time, a person who once felt central to everything starts to feel like background. And so, when they get a quiet moment with you, really with you, not you half looking at your phone or mentally running through your to-do list, they hold on. Because being held back, even just through a hand, is proof that someone still sees them, that they still exist fully in someone else's world, that they are not yet background, that they are still, in this moment, only the most important person in the room. The fourth thing it means, and this one requires you to sit with it, is that they may be trying to apologize for something they never said out loud. Older parents carry a lifetime of things left unsaid. Arguments that were never resolved, moments they handled poorly, times they were not there when they should have been, or were there in the wrong way. Words that came out harder than they meant. As people age and start to reckon with the shape of their life, those unspoken things grow heavier. Sometimes a long, held hand is the closest they can get to saying, "I am sorry." Not because they cannot find the words, but because after a certain point, some people genuinely do not know how to start that sentence. The hand says what the mouth has been holding back for years. And if you have ever felt the strange peace that comes from just sitting quietly with a parent who once hurt you without either of you saying anything, you already know what that kind of communication feels like. The fifth thing, and perhaps the most tender of all, is that they are trying to memorize you. The skin of your hand, the way your fingers feel between theirs, the warmth of you sitting next to them. This is not something most people think about, but the elderly do this. When someone you love has become the most important thing in your world, you start trying to press them into your memory in whatever way you can. A long handhold is a kind of recording. They are storing you. They are keeping a copy of this moment somewhere inside themselves where they can return to it when you are not there, on the nights when the house feels too quiet, or on the mornings when everything aches and they need to remember something good. And knowing that, really knowing it, should change the way you feel about every single one of these moments going forward. It should make you want to give them more to store. The question is not whether you understand this now. The question is what you do the next time it happens. The next time your parent holds your hand and you feel that extra lingering pressure, do not pull away after the socially comfortable amount of time. Hold back, match their grip. Look at them, not at the television or across the room, but directly at them. The way you would look at someone you are genuinely trying to memorize yourself. Ask them something real. Not how are you feeling in a clinical sense, but something that invites them to be a full person in front of you. Ask them what they were like at your age. Ask what they would do differently. Ask what they are proudest of, or what still makes them laugh when they think about it. Give them a conversation that reminds them they are not just someone being cared for. They are someone worth talking to, worth knowing, worth sitting still with. There is a part of this conversation that is uncomfortable, and it would be wrong to leave it out. Most people do not realize what these moments mean until they are looking back on them. The hand that held yours too long becomes a memory you replay with a kind of ache that has no clean name for it. You remember the weight of it, the warmth, the way they looked at you, and you think about what you were thinking about at the time, whether it was your phone or dinner or the drive home, and the distance between what they were offering you and what you were actually present for becomes something you carry. Grief is complicated enough on its own. But grief mixed with the awareness that you were in the room and not really there, that is a different weight entirely. The window for these moments is not unlimited. It is not even particularly long when you measure it honestly against the full length of a life. And yet, you are still here, which means the window has not closed. You still have time, not in some vague someday sense, right now, today, or this week, or the next time you are in the same room as them. The moment you have been half present for can become the moment you choose to show up completely. You do not need a plan or a special occasion or the right words lined up in advance. You just need to stop treating their presence as something that will always be there waiting for you when you get around to it. Show up to the ordinary Tuesday, sit on the couch, and do not check your phone. Let them take your hand, and when they hold it a little too long, hold it back. Because what they are really asking, underneath all of the silence and the fear and the love they do not always know how to say out loud, is simply this: stay, just for a little while longer. Stay. The last thing you will wish you had done more of is exactly this. Not the big gestures, not the trips you planned and canceled, the hand-holding, the staying. Because the truest thing about losing someone is that you never miss the version of them you saw on special occasions. You miss the ordinary one, the one who held your hand on a quiet evening and did not want to let go. And by the time you understand what that meant, the only hand you will have left to hold is your own memory of theirs.